Hello, everyone. I am going to see if I'm live here. And I see my background's a little grainy, so let me just turn up the light just a little bit. There we go. A little bright, but all right, let's see if we're live. So really no agenda tonight, so just trying to see if anybody is on, and I don't see it yet. Let's just go here. Looks like it's coming online here. Okay. So one of the things that I think is super important is the software that you choose to modify in. And let me just make sure my microphone's working here. Check 1, 2. Yep. Okay. So is the software that you choose to modify in. And that software is kind of the language that you speak, almost the programming language that you make to communicate with the fabricator. And so one of the things that I think is important is that you can do everything end to end. And so I just wanted to share some of that with you today. And so what I'm going to do is I have this, and I'm going to make my head a little bit smaller. Let's see if I cut here. Okay. So if you have any questions, just ask. But one of the neat things that's neat about Freeform is that we have this haptic device. And what I say is this is my digital Sureform. And I can actually feel the model underneath my hand. And then I can move that model all the way around. So really, really neat stuff. So what I wanted to show you is just a couple things that you can do in Freeform, and then really talk about the distal end of creating the end here. So, and what I see a lot of people do that I'm not a major fan of, but nonetheless, we'll take a look here. All right, so let's talk about the distal end first. Let's see if I can do this, create curved network. All right, and so what I'm going to do on the distal end is just show you what I see a lot. So one of the neat things about Freeform Plus is that you can bring in whatever you want and create a curve around it when it's a step file. If it's not a step file, then there's a bunch of triangles and you can't grab the curve. So that's one of the neat things about Freeform Plus is that you're able to bring in step files. So what I'm going to do is just bring this over here, and I'm going to grab that circle and I want to put it on this plane. And it looks like it did that. So let's just make sure that we're, yeah. So what we're going to do is then I'm going to loft that to this. And so this is the starting place for a lot of people. And I'm just going to apply this as a new piece. So what you see a lot of times is, I'm just going to put some quick trim lines on, and it's not even going to be socket specific. And so one of the neat things that I think about Freeform, especially as a contract manufacturer with advanced 3D, is it's important to speak the same language as your clients. And what's neat about speaking the same language is that you can share files back and forth that are native files. They don't have to be STLs, they can be clay files. And so you can see the true intent behind the product itself. So let's go ahead and do it the way people normally would do it. So they'll bring this in, they'll Boolean, combine as new. We're just going to say 0.75. And so now we have this distal end that we're going to cut through, but it's just, in my opinion, very ugly. And also, this is a massive stress riser, and it doesn't matter which technology you use, whether it's an SLS or vase mode or anything. You want all lines to be very easy, slow curves, or straight. Now, the problem with straight, especially when you're in vase mode, is that you start losing contact to the distal end. So what a lot of people try to do is they come in here and they smooth. Oops, I'm taking material away. They smooth this out like this, and they're like, oh, wow, that looks way better. Still, this angle here is a massive stress riser, and I would not put a patient out on something like that. So let's Boolean remove this away from this piece here. So now we've got the socket, but we need to cut the hole out for the, in this case, the Bulldog. And this is the locking mechanism. So what a lot of people do is they're like, okay, so we've got this. Let's just cut the cylinder all the way through. And so let's just take a look and see what happens there. So we're going to Boolean remove from P75. Okay. I'll take this plane out. So it doesn't look too bad, but then when you put the lock mechanism in there, you can see that it is uneven, kind of all the way around. And so let's just take a look at that in a cross-section view. So you can kind of see that is not, so there was a little bit of flatness on the end of my limb, so it's not always going to be there, but you can see just in this area on the other side how it gets wavy. So let's check around anywhere else. There's a good example. You see how that side gets high? That means that you're going to have some edge pressure. Let's see if we can axis snap. Display. I don't know how to get that. Anyway. Okay, I think we can just press OK. Okay, so now you have this high spot, and that is going to be a definite pressure for somebody's distal end. Now your umbrella may go into that, but it's not a real smooth transition, which is something that you really have to consider. So my suggestion is, if you're making sockets that way with just a cylinder cut and it's wavy on the inside, go back to the instructions of the socket itself, of the locking mechanism, and do something where you have a nice flat surface where that lock just falls right into place. One of the other things that I think is neat about Freeform, and I've seen some other things do this as well. Let's just go here. And they have this thing called the lattice to form tool. So I'll just go, which I really, really like. And one of the neat things is that, let's say you had, say, you wanted to bring the ears in just a little bit. What you can do is you can grab these handles and literally make some changes, big changes, in the ML or what have you, bring it down. There's just so much that you can do in this tool, and there's ways to constrain all that movement. So that's a little bit about Oqton Freeform. I think that's some of the fun things that I wanted to show this evening. And I want to hit the highlights of the actual socket itself and what I look at for strength, especially when you go to a definitive socket. So anyway, I hope you have a great evening. Tomorrow is Friday, so happy Friday to you. No, tomorrow's Thursday. Sorry about that. So tomorrow's Thursday. Happy Thursday to you. One day closer to Friday and the weekend. And for most of us in the space, it's like, what's a weekend and such. So anyway, hey, have a great evening. Take care, and we'll catch you on the next one.